I was. Yes, I was not here tractor. The only thing that's. Okay, so you heard what was there and you don't care. Okay. All right, so maybe you told her you would go by or something. Okay. Okay, okay. Yeah, I gotcha, I gotcha.
Okay, that's pretty good. Well, welcome to our August team meeting. I guess I got music that I need to mute. Pardon me. Pardon me. And it's back to present mode. Jump again. All right, welcome to our August team meeting. You chat. Yeah, this is a fun day. Summer is winding down. I don't think, like, if I were to pick a perfect weather day, I think days like today are it. Wake up, it's 55 degrees. I had my coffee on the front porch and a hoodie, which is great. It's gonna be like toasty and fantastic. It's crazy. Hang around extra long today. Who you're in business with matters. That's something that we say a lot around here, and so often it's like class, learn the info, get the thing done, use the tool, but the relationships matter. Because it's more fun that way, and you never know what you might learn and glean and connect from someone who's here. So we got a fantastic team meeting today with a special guest joining us today in a little bit, and then we're gonna move through there and downstairs for grilled meat, games, chance to win some fantastic stuff. With Amanda, we're here to remind me the things we're giving. Oh, there you are. There you are.
Hi.
We're giving away AirPods, a cool like patio heater, a fire stick,
Ring doorbell.
and an
Amazon
Amazon gift card. So that's some good stuff. I know I'm interested in a few of those things. You should have gotten a ticket just for being here today.
Yes,
So
if you didn't.
Amanda's just gonna be like dishing out those tickets, and if you're zooming, like get your car and get here, as you're not winning remotely today. You got must be present to win. All right, let's get moving. As always, let's start with some gratitude. Who's got some good stuff? We'll get you one, Mary Lou. We'll get you one. Marcy needs one. All right, we'll get the tickets going. Tickets flowing like candy. Gratitude. Let's hear it. Yes, Katie.
This is my first day back in the office since having a hip replacement. I'm really excited.
4 weeks.
Excited to be back.
How you feeling?
Fantastic. Yeah, I put off surgery for longer than what I should have.
Yeah.
I had hip dysplasia, but I'm glad to be back.
Yeah. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, that's a win for, I think, probably the whole team if I had to guess. That's awesome. Who else? Great.
I have a gratitude for Rich. I volunteered him for something last week and he did.
I'm so curious.
My bad. So thank you. Much appreciated.
She sent me to another brokerage, it's fine.
That's awesome. Who else? That's quiet. Avoiding eye contact. Forcing gratitude. Yes, Gloria.
Yes, I'm very grateful to be here. I'm was from Hannah, Howard Hannah, and I'm here now. I'm getting the opportunity to start a team up. So I'm really happy.
Yes, we're so glad you're here.
Yeah.
Months and months in the making.
It has been, it really has,
Yeah.
yeah, the brain fog's starting to go away, that I've had for about 3 weeks.
Oh,
But
mine
yeah.
never goes away. There's always
Oh,
kind of,
no.
no great thing there.
But yeah, things are starting to smooth a little bit easier, so.
That's awesome. And you have Wayne County area referrals,
Yeah.
Gloria's,
Yes.
and beyond, Ashland, Loudonville.
Don't forget Bickerton and Columbus area.
That's right, and Columbus as well.
Yeah.
Branching down that way as well. One or two more? Yeah, Kayla.
July, Keller Home Loans, this market center closed out second in the whole company.
Alright. That's awesome. Congratulations, Jess.
I got to know that my kids have to come.
Wow. Yeah. For those who missed it on Zoom, because that was quiet, Jess did, yeah, and an adoption, long adoption process. It's getting competitive around these tickets already. With those under lock and key. All right. Let us keep moving. We have many, I'm gonna minimize that. We have a handful of people to welcome. Brittany Morgan, who joined the Killy team. I don't know if she's zooming in. Amanda Daly is partnering up with Carrie Corp, also out in the Wayne County area. Carmisha Hightower is here in the flesh. Welcome, Carmisha. We're so glad to have you. But wait, there's more. Diana Donovan joins us in our Mansfield area. Lisa Altieri O'Brien joins us here, coming back. She was in real estate for a long time, took a break and is getting back in action. Last meeting, I said we were gonna put the Kool-Aid Man picture up. This is my second and final warning, so if you know people that are joining next month and they don't send a picture in, it's gonna be as the Kool-Aid Man, so be ye warned. Becky Taylor and Don, I gotta just move this because it's the best name in the business, Don Bonesteel. Which, he's as awesome as his name is. They joined the Melissa Sanford team out of the Elyria office. And that was it. Okay, I thought there might have even been more. We've got a few that have joined us. Well, Gloria, you were this month, so you counted towards August, but Gloria Braun as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
last Friday, on August the 2nd.
Yeah.
Are there any other? Am I missing anyone else? Okay, I think I got us covered. Okay. Thank you. Cassandra.
All right, July, I believe, was our highest profit share month ever, or is that?
Or July, best July.
Best July ever,
Yep.
with $35,920.87, which puts us at 268,809.
Last month, we were 29th in the company. This past month, we were 28th, so we're just crawling our way, coming after Greater Metropolitan.
And our July tappers are Carol Cooper, Samantha Holmes, Melissa Steiner, and Mike and Tara Svetley.
Great month.
Well, we had a lot of top producers. Fantastic month. Look at all of this.
Stand up if you're a top producer on that board. Let's just. Or you can stand up, let you hear it.
She was standing, you just couldn't.
Yeah. Come on in, Jack, there's seats, you gotta sit in the front though. He says, stop talking to me. Anything else from your corner? There will be.
A little later. Is there another slide for this? Oh,
Nope. Okay.
all right.
Womp womp. If you're reaching out, you're doing your weekend, please do so in a TCP compliant way, always cross-referencing with the do not call list. Another good things. Rich, come on up. I'm glad to just like shield the bad news and partner.
Yes, well, I appreciate it.
Partner with you.
Because I have plenty of good news, I would say, not, you might not think it's good news, but I feel like it's good news. So let's talk a little bit about, there's lots of updates, as we all know. We know that yesterday was the day where commissions came out of the MLS. So if you want to double check your listing to make sure that you don't have in the broker remarks, some of us had in there something like commission may be reduced if sold by listing agent. Those are the kind of things that they're looking for to come out. rest assured you are not getting a fine. They're not going to throw you $1,000 fine or throw you under the bus, or you're not gonna go to real estate jail. This is all learning together. So just check your listings. That's the biggest thing. I think the Flex MLS and Mansfield MLS, so that's Mansfield, Ashland, and Columbus. Those are actually coming out. They're waiting until the 16th to take those out. So sometime between the 16th and 17th. So do not panic if it's still in there. You're not gonna get yourself in trouble. All right. Let's talk a little bit about MLS Now specifically, because now you have a certification that when you go to submit your listing, they're basically an option to say, yes, I agree that I have no commission and I'm not trying to circumvent the process of putting MLS commission in the MLS. So you're going to certify to that, and if you start breaking that rule, it will be $1,000 fine automatically. They will not call you to warn you that they're giving you that to you, but they are saying they're gonna give a grace period. So we've got a few months. But if you are trying to circumvent that as an agent, you're gonna get caught. And on the third time they catch you, they will remove you from the MLS and you will not be allowed back in. So they're taking it pretty serious, right? So don't try and put phone numbers in there, text for information or email for information. You're gonna get caught, and then you know, if you don't have access to the MLS, you're gonna be hurt. Yeah. So, all right, there is also a drop down. So let's just change the word commission for concessions now. Anytime you hear the word concessions, just know that it can go for your compensation, but it can also go for many other things, your buyer's closing costs, like it always has. But just put that hat on. When you hear the word concession, think of commission. Okay. So right now in MLS Now, you have a drop down that says seller concessions. The answer is yes, call agent, no, or negotiable. I'm recommending that you put negotiable for every single one. I don't know why you would put no, because even when a seller says to you, I have no intentions of paying a buyer's broker's compensation or any other concessions, they might say that at the list price, but what happens if the buyer brings the list price up or the sale price up, right? So saying no could limit the amount of buyers that potentially look at that property, and also an offer that you might not get simply because you put no. So that's my recommendation. Talk to your sellers about it. I would say yes, call agent or negotiable, but the yes, call agent really should just be, well, it's negotiable. So yes. All right. And then listing agreements. We'll talk a little bit about listing agreements. It is true that there are brokerages, including a large brokerage, that has removed buyer broker compensation from their listing agreement altogether. That does not mean that you still cannot get paid a commission by the seller if you negotiate it into the purchase agreement, okay? They're just not doing a blanket offer of compensation. Now, I will tell you, there are two camps on this, right? There are the agents that say that's a disservice to the consumer as the listing agent, as the listing side, simply because a buyer may not look at that property because they can't afford to pay a buyer broker compensation. And if the seller says that they're not offering one, then maybe a buyer might instruct you to say, I can't afford to have you as representation and not have the seller pay, so I don't even want to look at those houses. A buyer is legally allowed to instruct you to do that. You cannot do that on your own. It goes against our ethics. But if you put that on the buyer broker compensation, the buyer agency agreement, then you can not show them properties per their instruction, okay? I will also say the other train of thought is, which I happen to be in this campus to tell you, that I think that almost all brokerages in 6 to 8 months or 12 months from now will not be offering buyer broker compensation, because they are too worried about the lawsuits that they could get sued for. And also, it is 100% negotiable. You know what you're gonna get paid now from the time that you negotiate with your buyer. You may not know how you're gonna get that compensation altogether, but you know what you're going to get paid. And if you're doing your job correctly, you've spoken to the buyer and you understand how you're going to get that. If you are that concerned, I will tell you our new buyer broker agreement, it does have a spot. And I always say, Cassandra, close your ears, and probably Erica too. But we will accept a retainer fee. So if you're working with a consumer and you say, listen, my minimum commission is $3,500 or whatever it is, I want that upfront because you're an investor and you're working all over the place. I will credit that to you during the period of this agreement if you buy something. If you don't, it's non-refundable. And then that's how you would get paid for your services, okay? Whether they buy or not. A little controversial. But again, I say to you, we were coming up with a way to advertise our commissions. So we bought OhioRealEstateCommissions.com. And Mike Schmieder at the Elevate office has done an amazing job, as well as Lynn, to get it up and running. And at this point, I can just tell you that I do not see the value in it. I think that you're going to find that you're just gonna start negotiating your compensation in an offer. You're not even gonna worry about calling the listing agent to see if any compensation is offered. And the answer is, it could be, it's negotiable. So I think if you just get in that train of thought to understand, you have the control to earn what you're worth. And I will tell you that if you talk to most of our agents, almost every single one of you are starting to get the X% that you're charging, because either a seller is paying some, a buyer is paying some, or the listing broker is paying some, but you're getting that extra 0.5% or percent that you wanted.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. So I know a lot of people think buyer agent commissions might go down. I don't think that's true. If your buyer agent commission goes down, it's because you're reducing your fee, not charging the consumer. That's my personal thought. So, all right, talk a little bit about the listing agreement. So our listing agreement is still gonna offer buyer agent compensation. I had a call yesterday from two EXP agents that used to be here and asked if they could come back because they're so upset that EXP is not offering buyer agent compensation. We are going to, and I think it should probably always be available to you to do that. I don't see us changing that, but I can honestly say I can see less and less agents actually offering buyer agent compensation. Okay. Let's see. So our current listing agreements, there's been back and forth. We have 143 listings right now at this brokerage, and there's a cooperation field that unfortunately you're gonna have to get amended on your listing agreements. Now, you don't have to do anything just yet. I will send out an email to make sure exactly what you're going to have to do, but we're working with the attorney to find out. We have a cooperation field in our listing agreement that says that we're going to input the listing into the MLS and we are gonna offer compensation through the MLS as cooperation for all brokerages. That has to be removed from our listing agreements. Our new listing agreement doesn't have it, but all those 143 active listings have to be amended. So you have one of two choices. I will give you the choices in the email. It's either we get the new listing agreement signed, which means you then have to take it out of the MLS as a withdrawal with release, enter in a new listing, or I'll be able to provide you with an addendum that you can get signed by your seller. It's up to you, whichever way you want to go, but we will have to do something. We have a little bit of time with that, but I hope to have that to you by Friday of this week at the latest.
Option 2.
Yeah. Option 3 is doing nothing and possibly getting audited, so let's not try that one. All right.
What if we're all under contract?
If you're under contract, don't worry about it. It's only the active listings that we're going to worry about. Could we go as far as everything else? Yes, it's gonna get too messy because of those people that are closing in a week from now, 3 days from now, whatever, it's just not worth it, right? So the active listings, again, there's a grace period. They haven't said what, but we're all in this together. So if you run into that situation and get audited, let me know and we'll make sure to cover it.
Just send your license back.
That's the easiest thing to do. I don't think it's the smartest thing, but it might be the easiest thing. Our new listing agreement does have 3 options for you. You're gonna have to let me know what you guys think of that once you start using it. I sent the new listing agreement. Marcy has a listing coming up this weekend. It will be available. Everything will be available after today. I'll go over the new forms that are gonna be there. They've been templated in .loop, all except for our purchase agreement. I will change them out today, but I wanted to wait to the meeting to do that. So our new listing agreement has 3 options. It is just representing the seller. If I am a dual agent, what the commission is, and then if there's an unrepresented buyer, what the commission is. Now, we've gone back and forth on this. I say that to you, you can say, I'm gonna work for the same amount, no matter if I'm a dual agent or if I'm representing an unrepresented buyer, working with an unrepresented buyer. That's up to you. I don't recommend that, but I would say, you know, if you're gonna be a dual agent, you should probably be charging more money. It's either to the buyer or to the seller. It's negotiable, right? So, but you can definitely take those 3. So for those teams or groups that charge more than the $295 fee, you will see in all of our new documents, it is a hard $295 or it's a blank. You can fill in the blank. We are not allowed to have any more forms that are $295, $395, $499, whatever. You fill in the blank. If your team or group charges more, then you just put it on there. It will look the same. You can do it in .loop, so it's not gonna look different than what you're used to now, okay? All right, let's see here. Showing your own listing. So if you are the listing agent, so let's say Mark and I are on a team and I'm the listing agent and Mark is my buyer's agent. And I get a sign call from somebody. And I usually call Mark and say, hey, Mark, you work with this buyer. I don't want to work with this buyer. Mark, in that case, has to get a buyer agency agreement signed before he shows that listing. I, on the other hand, as the listing agent, do nothing. I can show up to that property, not get a buyer agency signed, and only represent the seller. If that buyer then decides they want to make an offer, I then have to go through the buyer agency agreement with them and get them to sign it. So that's gonna be different for larger teams. Understand that if Mark and I are a group and we're working together, from now on, I'm putting Mark on my listing agreement and he's signing it too, because then either way, either one of us can go show it. We've already had so far this morning an agent that called me, and I don't know if he's still here. Yep. I already had an agent. I'm gonna give you the example and it's.
What was their name?
On this side of the room. It's Alan. So he got his real estate license, you just didn't know it. That's a big announcement today. So anyway, we've already seen where a buyer has decided to go with the listing agent because they don't have to pay the buyer's agent any commission.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen, guys, and we have a buyer agency signed with this consumer. So I'm a little bit ashamed of the other brokerage that's kind of moving forward with this because it's gonna get done to them as well. If they're doing it to us, it's gonna get done to them.
Was it shown though? Did they show it?
We are hearing calls, I'll say that. Yeah, so we
That's.
have decisions to make whether we're gonna go to the board or not, but I'm just telling you, get ready because it's already starting to happen as we speak. So, but I just wanna make sure you're clear on showing your own listing is okay without a buyer agency. Good listing. All right, let's talk a little bit about buyer agency agreements. Two Michigan brokers have recently, if you read Inman this morning, they've sued NAR for this change of taking the commission out of the MLS. And I don't know how that's gonna turn out. It's probably not gonna turn out very well. I can tell you, no matter your view on NAR, Ohio now has Ohio Revised Code 473555, which was signed into law by the governor 2 weeks ago. You could sue NAR all you want. Our state law supersedes NAR. We all have to have buyer agency agreements, whether you are a realtor or you're a licensee. Doesn't matter. They all have to have the same things on them. We are all bound by the same laws. So again, whatever you think of NAR and whatever you hear outside the state of Ohio, it doesn't matter. Ohio law trumps NAR. So we're all in the same boat. All right, and then I mentioned agents, I think, are seeing more commission now. The Zillow touring agreements that you may have been sent, those are illegal now in Ohio. They were legal up until 2 weeks ago when the governor signed this into law. It doesn't have half the things on it that are required by Ohio law. So don't use them. There's no such thing as a touring agreement. There's no brokerage that will have a touring agreement. If you want to enter into what you would consider a touring agreement with your consumer because they don't want to sign a 6-month agreement with you, a 3-month, sign a week. Sign 1 day with them, it doesn't matter,
No,
but
buyer
compensation, yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
The buyer agency, you can use that form, it's available to you, it's in .loop, like I said, it'll be available by the end of today. But you have to negotiate your fee at the time you're signing that with your consumer, it can't be later. Okay, so anybody that has those, throw them away. And anybody that has a touring agreement or any of your own promissory agreements, anything that you have, throw it away. If you're not using the buyer agency that's provided by the brokerage, it's probably not compliant. Michael?
Going back to if you're the listing agent, you can show the house, so you can do your own open houses. Can you have someone do an open house for you who's that's not the listing agent?
Yeah, so that's gonna be the fun thing too. We don't really have a clear answer on that at the moment. Open houses for you as a listing agent is free and clear, just like you always have it. You don't have to have a buyer agency. But if now I decide I'm gonna go sit in Mark's open house, I don't represent the seller. So technically, I would probably have to have a buyer agency agreement. It's a gray area. I will get more on it for right now. Continue to do open houses for other agents and other listings. We will get clarification on that, but we don't have it yet. All right, you can amend your buyer agency agreement, guys. There is now a spot on there for an amendment. So we had tons of questions for the last few months about, well, if I put 2.5% on there, but their listing agent is paying a 3%, or I want to amend it, what can I do? There's now an amendment section that states everything is the same with the exception of whatever you're changing. So you can amend that. I will tell you, it's still gonna be difficult. I think that you're gonna work with a consumer to say, well, they're offering 3%, so now I wanna amend this. I think you need to go in with whatever your commission is upfront. Because if there is extra, you either have to amend that agreement in order to get it. And honestly, the buyer's probably gonna think that we're being a little bit greedy because they're gonna want it, right? So I would say go in with whatever your fee is upfront. And then purchase agreements, pay attention to the commissions that are coming in, because if it says listing broker is to pay X and you're not offering X. The listing broker is paying it and you get zero, or you get a portion of what you thought you were getting. So pay attention to purchase agreements, pay attention to the buyer, broker compensation agreements. You need to be reading through all of these items to make sure that we are not on the hook to pay a commission that we didn't procure. So, the same is true for a seller. Is the seller paying a commission? If not, they need to know that they are or they're not, one way or another. But you need to understand how that buyer's agent's getting paid. That is your job as the listing side. Go comb through those documents. And then, let's see here. The new purchase agreement does have a checkbox, which I think you guys will all like this. It does have a checkbox to say the offer is or is not contingent upon the seller paying the buyer's broker commission. Okay, so if I'm working with a buyer and that buyer says to me, I want my offer contingent on the seller paying this commission to you, then I'm gonna check the box is contingent. There's also a box that says is not contingent. I've seen another broker that it just says it is contingent, which I don't really think is appropriate, because not all buyers are going to want their offer contingent on you getting a commission. So hopefully I think that's great that it's in there. I think it gives you peace of mind to say, if your buyer says, I can only pay you if the seller pays, you now don't have to worry about them only signing the purchase agreement and not the buyer broker compensation agreement. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, and then the last thing is, when I say we have new documents, guys, we have new documents. We have the new escrow instructions, we have new purchase agreement, listing agreement, buyer broker compensation agreement, buyer agency. And sadly, the EPA has decided to throw one more thing in there and give us a new lead-based paint disclosure.
While they're at
And
it.
so,
Let's jump in.
yeah, the lead-based paint disclosure that you're going to see in .loop is terrible. The EPA obviously has no idea what they're doing when it comes to real estate. There's one for a tenant and there's one for a seller. You'll distinguish the difference. We will put them in different spots, but basically the weirdest, wonkiest thing on that form is that it says you as the buyer's agent have to initial that you have explained to the seller their duty to explain lead-based paint and fill out that form properly. When do you ever get the opportunity to speak to the seller as a buyer's broker? You don't. So there is a spot in a footnote at the bottom, and it says only if you are getting compensation from the seller. So if you are getting paid by the seller on that lead-based paint disclosure, you now have to initial that you have explained to the seller, even though you've never spoken to the seller. So you may want to email the buyer, the listing agent, and say, I initialed this as per the EPA guidelines. Please explain to your seller what their duties are, because you're not gonna get a chance to talk to them. Okay, it's very frustrating. And if for some reason the seller is not paying you a commission as the buyer's broker, you can put NA in that field and not initial. You still have to sign the bottom, but you don't have to initial. So it's very wonky. I imagine that will get changed as the EPA gets enlightened on what real estate agents actually do. But for now, that's what they've got. So all of those forms will be available to you by the end of the day. The purchase agreement will not be, that will be by Friday. The purchase agreement is 7 pages now. It's a little aggressive. But we have to have all these things in there to protect you and the consumer. Michael?
Is there a way that we can get a form that basically we send over to the listing agent and say, hey, we need your seller to sign this, that?
You have explained it.
Yeah,
We can work on that. I have a feeling that Ohio Realtors, we're kind of waiting. Listen, our legal bill is already really high. Sandra, you haven't got it yet, where are you? So we will hopefully that Ohio Realtors, since they are the ones that are working with the EPA on this, they'll come out with something and we can just use a generic form.
okay.
So, yeah. The good news is that agents are getting more commission now today and getting paid what their value is compared to what they were before. They're actually getting paid the 3% that you've been negotiating instead of the 2% or 1.5% or whatever it is that you're getting. So
Oh, the new license agreement, do we add mineral rights on?
we did.
Good.
Yes, I think it's line
That's good
64
news,
if I'm
yeah.
not mistaken. Yes. Yeah, we've made some good changes to the.
I feel like Rich up to this point has needed to use like brown belt skills in order to do his job, and now he's just like full on 3rd-degree black belt broker.
And just a Post-it, he used to come up with a Post-it piece.
Yeah, now he's got like. So Rich, thank you for this for us.
I think that's everything. So.
We had, there was I think it was probably one of the MLS things that,
Oh, yeah, that was the penalty. So just again, telling you that it's up to $1,000 fine, and so any team or group that thinks that they're gonna circumvent the MLS or showing time or anything, just don't do it.
yeah,
And again, I'm telling you, I really do envision in 6 to 8 months from now, you're not even gonna be calling a listing agent to care what the listing commission is. You're just gonna fill out the buyer broker compensation agreement, and they're gonna tell you whether they're offering something or not. So, yeah, and I think you're all gonna go to that same, it's just a new way of doing business, but we'll all make it through.
my recommendation is take an hour on Friday, once that last document is uploaded, and just slow down and do it. I think too many of us, like, we're not reading it until we're sending it across to our clients. And you don't look like a professional in that instant, so actually slowing down. You've spent countless hours working with our attorney, we've got feedback from agents. And now it's your job to actually steward those things. You can only channel Rich so much, you have to be the professional.
I will not say I'm a black belt with Word, but I'm close.
Thank you, Rich, appreciate you. At the PSA, our next education day, 2 weeks from today, is gonna be kind of the skills around conversations with buyers, conversations with sellers on this, making sure that we understand the documents. It's not gonna be a broker Q&A fundamentally, it's gonna be more about kind of practice and honing our language. So if you are feeling insecure, come. We're investing as much effort as we can continuously, particularly from Rich's angle, to help you be equipped. You need to be the professionals to respond accordingly, so please be there. Amanda?
Just plugging that you are SVP if you're coming, so we have enough lunch.
Yes, Keller Home Loans is sponsoring that day, and we believe in miracles, but it's best if you are RSVP.
Alright, hi everybody. So you may have received an email from me about your website. Basically, Command is just making everybody upgrade. And so if you've received an email from me, I'm just trying to save your domain. If you haven't received an email from me, that means yours was already saved, so don't worry about it. If I have upgraded your site for you in the last couple of weeks, I just saved it for you. I'll send out an email later and I'll actually put some bells and whistles on it for you. So just stay tuned to that. If you think, oh gee, I probably did, and I just ignored it, go find it. It's not too late. I have till 15, and I just want to make sure your name is safe. If not, we'll find a similar name, a dot, a period, a dash, something or other. So that's that. And then next, I want to talk about the picnic and what's gonna happen in a little bit.
When it's time, yep.
Yeah, so you might have gotten tickets. If you haven't, I'm gonna have you raise your hand and I'll come around and get you your
Be
ticket.
honest.
Yeah, so
Be
he
honest.
has one that he doesn't, he's gonna give back. I'm calling him out now. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna keep one side and put the other side in one of the really great prizes that are out there. So our vendors donated some really, really awesome prizes. So the more you participate, the more tickets you're gonna get. So if you brought a dish or a dessert, you're getting an extra ticket. You did get one just for hanging out with us today. We're gonna have a cornhole tournament. If you win, you're gonna get 5 tickets. If you participate, you get an extra. So basically, the more you participate, the more like chance you are gonna have to win. Yes.
Do I find that's dessert if I brought myself?
No.
Oh.
I cannot answer that.
Anyone wanna change seats?
I'm blushing.
Just poor Jenny.
But I think really that's all the announcement I have. We're gonna have side dishes and desserts up here. Nicole is down there grilling hot dogs and brats right now, so you're gonna fill up your plate and then go down and get your food. We are gonna ask that if you wanna sit out in the parking lot to take your chair with you, and that way you have somewhere to sit. I think I covered everything. Oh, to figure out who won what prizes, I'll post it in the Facebook group, you can find out if you win, because I won't know, because we just have numbers.
Yeah,
I'm not
we'll do it
asking anybody to do that, so pay attention to the Facebook group around this afternoon. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right. Miss Marcy. Hey, how's it going?
Good thing I caught that.
I love it when someone's real person just lines up. It's like, that's so you. Sometimes you see it's like, that's you anymore. How's it going?
Good, good.
All right, so Marcy is here. How many of you are new to KW in the last year? How many of you have heard of Legacy Group Cares but are like fuzzy on what it is, what it does? Raise your hand confidently, because I know it's true of many of you. We realize that, so it's a fantastic part of who we are, a big part of who we are as a market center, and we've realized that we haven't done a great job of helping you all to understand what it is, how it works, who it's for, and how you can become more involved. So we wanted to
Okay.
talk a little bit more about that today.
Okay, first of all, when we opened and we realized what Keller Williams was doing on a national level, we decided to do it for our agents here. So it's called Legacy Group Cares. And we do fundraisers throughout the year to put money into the account, but right now to date, I think we've given out in grants about $112,000.
Wow, that's awesome.
I added up, and I know there's been other things, but they were small,
Yeah.
but I'd say for the most part, $112,000. But how it works is, if you know someone in here who's like struggling as far as health issues, flood damage, their house was destroyed and they
Something
need help,
catastrophic.
catastrophic now. You need to get a hold of either me or Rich or Mark and that stuff, and let us know. And then there is a form that has to be filled out, and we have to have it filled out. And it's just an application, it's not that difficult, but we have to have it filled out because we're a 501c3, which means it's tax deductible. So we have to have that filled out, and it's not that complicated, and we can get those out because we're online and stuff, we can send those out. But we've had so many really cool situations, like last year was Danny.
Yeah.
Who needed a double lung transplant, and they were just getting choked with fees and bills and all that kind of stuff, and at first, he didn't want to take any money.
Yeah.
He didn't want to take any money, he just felt guilty about it, and I said, that's what we're here for. So it was so nice because he could rest assured that his family was gonna be taken care of. Then one of the things we did was a fundraiser, but we rolled it into the KW Cares.
Yeah.
So that we could give it to the family for some of the funeral expenses. So anyhow, this is just a really cool thing. I mean, I don't know of any other company that offers anything like it. I'm really passionate about it, and the thing is, we can't help people if we don't know something. So if you hear something about any of the agents, and we've even had people who are really, really sick. And instead of using that fund, we put it out to everybody that, hey, we need meals.
Yeah.
And those kind of things. So that's what this whole thing's about. So now, can I go on to this one?
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay,
please.
okay.
Yeah,
All right, now, one of our biggest fundraisers is actually the golf outing that's coming up.
Coming up.
It's coming up
Open up
on
my
Friday, September the 6th. And even if you stink golfing, it's still a really fun day. I mean, most of us are not like real serious about it. Some are very serious about it, and they want to win.
they're on
We don't
practicing,
care.
right?
We're just having fun. But basically, it includes lunch, and then there's a dinner afterwards, and dinner usually is around 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
By the time we make the turn and everything, so it's not like you're there all day, but it is such a fun and the camaraderie. And what's really cool is the title companies, the home inspectors, other agents from other companies, they come here, and I love that, that's my favorite part.
Yeah.
They're visiting with a lot of different people and stuff, but that's our major fundraiser. Up until this last year, we were raising about $10,000 every golf outing, and last year it slipped way down like 3,000 something, it wasn't good. And what we need really, really bad right now is we need full sponsors, because that's 100% tax deductible for them, and it's also 100% profit for us. So we don't make a dime on basically the actual fee to golf. We don't make money there. And then also we do an auction, so we need auction items, which we're struggling with again this year, and we did last year. But I'd really love to see us get really close to that 10,000 mark again this year and replenish what we've spent. And, how I'm gonna ask for help from everybody here, but we need sponsors and donations for the auction. So if you know someone who owns a really fabulous flower shop or something, see if they would donate something or a gift certificate for that, or you go to a special restaurant all the time. If you guys could do little things like that to help us, and even do gift baskets and anything that you can think of, or if you go to a pro shop and the company would donate a golf bag or something. So we need help really bad, and this is coming up quick, and we have to advertise it ahead of time. So if we could get it in like this next week or so.
If everyone were to talk to one or two companies, we
Right.
blow past our goal.
Yeah.
Chris?
Can we make a brochure with like contact information that we can hand to companies? that can
Yeah,
give us a
okay.
little-
Yeah, I've got the 501c3, so this just lets them know that if they do, then all you need to do is fill this out, I will sign it and I'll send it to them.
Yep.
And with a thank you, okay, 'cause we love to thank you.
Also on the golf outing website, there's a page that breaks it all down, so we'll make sure that that gets on the Facebook page today too,
Yeah.
makes it all pretty clear.
But they can write it off. They can write it off, and our numbers on here set. Yeah,
How much is the whole sponsorship?
the whole sponsorship is $100. And then we have different levels of other sponsors, and that's on the website also. I think it's $500. And I guess they can have a sign at a hole or something, and Mike's not here.
We'll
So-
put it on the Facebook page today,
Yeah.
when you see the full breakdown.
Okay, and then to sign up, on the webpage, you know, this was, I don't know where this is.
Yes,
You know me and computers.
yes,
I
we'll all be
hate
on the
paper.
Facebook
I
page this
hate
afternoon,
paper.
yeah.
No. Anyhow, but it has, all you do is click and sign up and you're good to go. And then the payment gets processed. If you want to put it on a credit card, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Or if you just want to write a check and make it payable to Legacy Group Cares. And you can give it to Mark,
Cassandra. Give it to
Cassandra, or Mike Crum, because he's the one. And the committee that does this is like, and Aaron is on the committee. Correct, you're not on the committee?
It's just me and Mike as far as.
Well, I know, I know. And it's like, you guys have no idea how much work goes into this. So we appreciate everything you do and you're amazing. So, and Mike is retiring from it this next year. So he's done it for
Long time.
8 years. And it's so much work, and and Aaron's gonna be taking over for us.
That's not true.
We'll get it sorted out,
That will also be on the Facebook page.
Anyway, so if you guys need the forms to give to people, I got them.
Maybe we can put them on the table back there and you could grab them.
Sure.
On.
Okay, that's cool. Okay.
Thank you, Marcy. Appreciate you. Another thing, so you guys know when you have a commission closed, there are some auto deductions that you can default out of or into. We want to make it easier for you to give throughout the course of the year. If you feel like, hey, I'd love to be able to help and kind of systematize this. So Cassandra, if you could pop back up here real quick and walk us through. I put arrows in, guys. This is Mark's Canva and his science.
Okay, so we set it up so that you can donate to the local CARES chapter through your commissions, should you choose to, you can do any dollar amount you'd like. I would ask that you keep it about 50 cents for the sake of my sanity, but you know, whatever. So to do that, you already submitted your commission, your offer here, you go edit agent payment. Add a deduction. And then you just type Legacy Group Cares, and then the dollar amount, if you wanna do a percent, you are free to do that, but if you wanna do like $1 per transaction.
When you type it in, like all of this stuff will populate. You don't have to.
You have to do nothing further than hit add deduction, and I'll do everything on the back end, so quick and easy, if you would like to donate, that would be great.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the year, you would have a breakdown of everything you donated then.
I will be able to get you a report, yes.
Yeah, strongly encourage that. I think that's one thing for me. It's an out of sight, out of mind thing in so many ways. We have our couple big events throughout the course of the year. But if you added $25 per, per commission, how big of a difference might that make, and how we're able to help others in need. So thanks for doing the legwork on that. All right, keep things moving. All right, now it's time for our special guest. Join me in welcoming our Stark County Auditor, Alan Harold. Yeah.
Who's having?
She was just like such a great little.
He stuck around even after Rich's.
I don't
Wow. So I'm gonna send some handouts around, and as I do that, I'll kind of give you a little pitch as to why. What brings me out here today, and just wave if you need a little bit, if you need anything else. Alan Harold, I've been the face behind the website and the gas pumps and all that, where you might see, yeah.
She really likes to work.
Bothering me.
Big fan.
Huge fan, I guess. Didn't even know.
I have been the auditor for almost 14 years now. The auditor's office is, it's a lot of different things. I pay the bills and pay the people in all of county government. We're about an $800 million entity. You can believe it, at the end of the day, all the money that comes ins and outs and runs the sheriff's office, job and family services, among others, and then the money that we pass out to all the subdivisions, city, schools, villages, townships on behalf of our taxpayers every year. You know me from the gas pumps, as I just said. We have about 6,000 devices that we check in our county, and we do the work in homes in Columbiana and Carroll County too. So those trucks are on the road all over the place. I oversee IT for county government too. So anybody have fun with CrowdStrike a couple weeks ago, and that everything that goes on with in the IT world? So, you know, you get a call from the sheriff in the middle of the night that says 911's down. That's a lot of fun for me too. So we do all that, but only licensed dogs. Who's got a dog tag? Who has a dog? Yeah.
I mean, there's some different hands.
That's right. So we license dog tags, cigarette license, vendor's license, among other things too. But a big part of my job and why I'm here today is just to talk about the real estate function that we perform. We maintain the county's maps. We are the second to last stop after the recorder when property conveys. And it's with that sales information that comes across our desk that we do have that be part of the valuation process that we go through. So every 6 years, with an update in between, the third year in between, every 6 years, we're required by law to revalue all property in the county. So the last time we did that was in 2018. We did an update in 2021, and so now it's 2024. We're back and in the middle, actually not in the middle, we're kind of finishing up our work on this and ready to notify the public about what we're doing. So a couple things from you. The public's gonna get a notice from us. They're already at the printer right now, so maybe not by this time next week, but certainly by the end of next week, beginning the following week, we mailed out 123,000 notices that are gonna have the new value, new estimated value for the home. And how did I come up with that? The first thing is, and most importantly, is we keep track of all the characteristics on any given property, from just a vacant lot that is probably no bigger than this computer, some of them, to Timken steel, right? Metallus, whatever. Everything in between. Most of what we have is just single family homes in neighborhoods, right? So that's pretty easy for us to keep track of and pretty easy for us to come up with valuation methodology. But the most important thing is that we have a good record. So you all been on the website, right? Right, what? I hope, yeah, I hope, right? After Camp Rep, we're the second most traffic
I'm sure.
site, local site in the county, right?
Right.
Yep, after Camp Rep, we're the second traffic site in Stark County, local domicile. But we want to make sure the data on there is right, because we feel if we have good data, we get good values, okay? And then we rely on the sales information, all the information that comes across our transfer desk on a daily basis. We have about 10,000 arm's length transactions a year that occur in the county. We have about 16,000 transfers
About 10,000 of them we consider to be arm's length, willing buyer, willing seller. And it's that data that we use. We marry the two together, do a whole bunch of statistics and analysis to come up with our value conclusion here.
Sorry, just I'm thinking of a question. Whenever you post the appraised value, can you put some type of disclaimer up there that says this is not what your home is gonna sell for?
High or low?
Don't answer that.
Yes.
No, it's whenever we have somebody who's buying, they're always like, well, the county says it's worth 60 grand, so I'm gonna pay that. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
not how it works.
Right, it's not how it works. We're dealing in life in arrears,
Yeah.
right? Because the last time I touched this was 2021. So much has happened in the market since then, right? So much has happened in the market. But it's the snapshot in time. We do this as of January 1st of the years that we do it. So it's January 1st, 2024 is what I think you could sell it for. Now, in our world of mass appraisal, which is, I'm just looking at characteristics. I might be pulling data from different sources and that, but I don't go in the home, right? I don't necessarily walk around the home, right? We're just using data in the aggregate to form our conclusions here. And frankly, if we did it for July 1st, I'd probably be 2 or 3% ahead of where I was in January 1st. Yeah, if you can believe that, we continue to move along. So what I really need from folks like you, when your clients call, this is a good opportunity to reach out to clients too, absolutely, to reach out to them and say, hey, you're gonna be getting this, you know, let me know if I can help, let me know if I can help you with any analysis, things like that. The first thing we're gonna have a box on the website, the search page of the website's gonna change or be the same, but the main page of the auditor's website is gonna look a little bit different starting next Monday. Where you're gonna enter the parcel number, use the QR code that's on the form. It's gonna take you to this site, and the first thing we're gonna ask you to do is to make sure the characteristics are right. Bed count, bath count, square footage, fireplaces, just some really basic stuff that are really the key drivers behind coming up with a valuation. That's number one, make sure the record is accurate. Number two is to look at that value and say, yeah, do I really think that I could sell that property for what the auditor said it at? Maybe it's too low. You know, again, we're always chasing. They come after me when the market goes down. I can tell you that, which has only happened in the early part of my time, but the market has always been steadily rising here. But so that's the job, to look at it and say, no, I think he can. I think he can. I think he's right. I think I could sell it for that. Maybe sell for a little bit more, that's okay. If you'd say, no, I think the auditor is too high on this, what can we do? Well, maybe it was a recent sale, right? Send us a copy of the settlement statement, purchase agreement. You can, I mean, really simple to attach it, send it to us. Maybe they had an appraisal on the property recently for a refi. We know that's a lot of the mortgage market right now is refis. So attach the appraisal, easy for us to do. Right, maybe that the house just isn't in as good a condition as we think it is, right? Maybe there's some deferred maintenance. Right, again, it's very humbling. We hear a lot of, you know, really, really sad stories about what's going on in somebody's home. So they'll send us pictures, they'll send us contractors' estimates on what it'll take to cure whatever the impairment might be. We take that into consideration too when setting it. Other people do a little bit of comparable analysis, and we know that's why they might call you to say, hey, this is what I'm at, but I noticed this neighbor down the street, you know, sold for X, or this guy or gal 1 block over sold for this. You know, how do I compare to that? Putting 2 or 3 comparables together for them and a little explanation as to why this house compares plus or minus to, you know, these other things that may have sold nearby. Nothing quick, just something, you know, relatively quick and easy where you can add value for your clients in this way. Send it in all online. I mean, it really will only take you about 5 minutes to do. It's that simple. And you get to watch a couple more videos of me in this too. So that's, I mean, that's always it. But it'll take you a few minutes to do. We will be issuing notices on a rolling basis here. So if it's a quick and easy for us to make an adjustment, I mean, you'll get it back, or the client will get it back pretty quick. But we really have until about the end of September. And then our window has to close, so we can kind of close out we can finish notifying everybody, and then we've got to close out our year. So we can send tax bills out, which we know that's what people care about.
That's what they want.
That's what they wanna know, right? So just because taxes go up or values go up, doesn't mean taxes are gonna go up commensurately. This law in Ohio, as if the MLS stuff you heard from Rich wasn't, I mean, that is, oh my God, that is so confusing. Not the way he presented, just the.
You're giving me a complex here.
I mean, all the changes, what you guys are going through is so much, and, you know, like anything, hopefully give it time. But, so flip to the side of the sheet with my name on it, you'll see on average in each community what the average price of the home was before, what the average price of the home I'm projecting if for 2024, and what that percent changes. But just because it goes up 45% in the city of Canton doesn't mean the taxes are gonna go up 45% either, okay? Tax law in Ohio is designed to keep property taxes relatively flat as values rise and fall, okay? So when you pass a levy, it's designed to raise a certain dollar amount, so as prices go up, I have to charge you less to still raise that same dollar amount. Values go down, I charge you a little bit more. That's the bulk of the tax bill. There's a little bit of the tax bill that rises and falls as valuation does, about 15 or 20%. That in general is the part that moves. There's a few exceptions to this on certain school levies. So kind of depending what school district you're in, Jackson, North Canton, those are probably the big ones that they have some levies that fall outside the calculation. Massillon's one. So they're gonna see Fairless, they're gonna see a little bit of a bigger increase in taxes there. But if you ever go on the website and use our tax estimator on there, anybody use that part, go to the main website and use the tax estimator that's on there. There'll be a link to this as part of this review process that we have, or you just go to the website and use it. But we'll estimate the taxes on there too. Some folks are only going up a couple percent, even with all these changes. Their values, like in Myers Lake with some changes, they're going up 32%, but their taxes are only gonna go up about 1% there. Just depends on the levy calculation. In Kansas City, it's going up 45%. Taxes are gonna go up about 7 or 8% there. In Jackson, probably, and one of the other big ones I know people care about a lot, they're gonna go up 28% and taxes are gonna go up 13% there on average. We're gonna have a lot of this data on the website for people to see. We continue to work through the math, but what I want and need more than anything else is feedback on our record. I need feedback on the value conclusion that we came to. Because, you know, in doing this in the mass world, we don't always get it right. Right, so we feel good about our analysis, but by hearing from folks, we can say, yeah, we might have done this pocket wrong. Or, yeah, we maybe were too low over here, you know, if I don't hear from anybody in a particular neighborhood. I can tell you that, you know, we look at that too, in the same way. We'll expect to hear from about 5,000 homeowners, so we sent out about 123,000 notices, those are residential notices. We'll expect to hear from about 5,000 folks as part of this process. If you submit evidence or you don't submit any evidence and we don't give the owner what they're looking for here, then has anybody ever come to Board of Revision before or participated in Board of Revision? This is the formal way to appeal the valuation that's set on your property. That happens in the spring. From basically January 1st to March 31st is when you file a complaint for that. But again, there will be notes on the notice that goes out that explains that part too.
The Board of Review, like, it's not as scary as what it sounds.
I'm nice. Was I there when you came in? No.
I've met
Yes, yeah, okay. See, sounded about as reassuring as Rich. It was all good. It is, we try to make, it's the board revision process is very prescribed by law. But how we implement it, we can do, we try to make it pretty easy.
It's actually pretty
easy for folks, so.
I just have two questions, and I don't know if you can answer them, but is there anything going on with Ohio and our seniors? Like, we're gonna see our seniors getting taxed out of their own homes
Yeah.
that they've lived in forever. And at $38,600, if they're paying $5,000 in taxes, they're $33,000 to live off of in a year. Is there any discussion about raising that threshold?
Yeah, so you're gonna see a story in the paper about this, the reappraisal this weekend, the reps doing. You know, if you still read the repository, but the reps doing a big story on that, and then there I have an op-ed that talks just about that. Homestead exemption, this is a discount for our seniors that, it used to be it was $25,000 off the value of the home. So if the home was worth 100, you only paid on 75. But that's been in place for a long, long time. So even in Kansas City, if you like 10 years ago, if you were on homestead in Kansas City, you probably paid zero tax on that. Now you pay on average about $400 in tax if you're on homestead, but think about it, to your point. If you're on a fixed income, things like that make a big difference. So we have lobbied the legislature very, very aggressively. I'd encourage your association to do the same. They know this is an issue. The legislature knows taxes rising, seniors not being able to stay in their homes is a big issue. But we've got I can only do the change with state law. We can only give them more with state law. And so hopefully, you know, that comes to fruition. Few bills are out there right now. We'll see what moves in the fall when they come back in session.
Okay, and then second question, is there any movement on the legislature averaging the last 3 years or 6 years of a value instead of just going off the last year's?
More recent, sure. So Rich's question is, we look at data. We look at data from the past 3 years. So from the last time I did the update in 2021 until, you know, really the first 3-4 months of 2024. So I look at all that data, but just like if you're doing a fee appraisal, you know, there is greater weight placed on recency, right? So the state kind of dictates us to use what's most recent. There's some legislation pending that says, hey, take a little more of an average here. That would seek to probably in a rising market, drive the value down a little bit. But in a falling market, that might seek to prop the value up a little bit too. Because that's the other side of the equation. Most of the equation is determined by what the voters have chosen, what you've chosen to tax yourselves at over time. And then the other side of it, of course, is the value. So I could lower the value, which will lower the tax a little bit, or we could do some things with the tax calculation and let the value be more what it's supposed to be, which is reflective of the market can be. I think we auditors have convinced the legislature to say, don't play with the valuation side. We have a tax problem, not a value problem here, okay?
That's good.
I have one more.
Sure.
I believe, to my knowledge, Ohio is one of the few states that still pay taxes in arrears. Is that correct?
We pay taxes in arrears. As for the rest of the world, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there five other
states do that?
So there's no talk, or could that change down the road for us, or do you see that staying?
I see the arrears issue staying in place. That hasn't come up in any conversation. So.
Like the mail in the hands,
My direct number, office number, cell phone number, call me, text me, email me.
That's great.
What's that?
That's very.
It's all fine. I'd rather hear from you.
thank you, really appreciate it. All right, we're a little over.
For lunch.
We have a few quick ones. Ty Wayne, come on up.
I'll be snappy.
Give us 5 more minutes, folks. We'll get there.
Plenty of that. Hello, everyone. Ty Bailey, APHW. So one of the things I just want to highlight today is we rolled out the new warranty several months ago. So if you're ordering in Real Pro, you're seeing a lot of different pricing. So as of September 2nd, that's gonna go away, and there's just gonna be one warranty with the pricing in there. So please, if you're utilizing the online system, which I highly suggest, it's much easier, less errors. That's what you're gonna be seeing. So if you're like, hey, this looks different, that's why. So we rolled out the new one with the goal plan and all that good stuff. If you're still submitting in other forms, I discourage against Loop. I've been running into some issues that I'm kind of looking into. Emails, not so much of a problem, but real is by far easier. You can get your invoice, do your data collection sheet. So I think that's really the best way. But if you're emailing these things, you still have some old brochures, you know, from the past, we're probably gonna have to get accounting. So if there's some pricing, just gonna complicate the process. So just letting you guys know that it's not like we're gonna say, oh no, gotcha. But, you know, so if the client has some old brochures, just let me into the process. I can shoot an email to the accounting team to update the pricing and coverage to get that fixed. So not a big deal, but September 2nd is going to be that line in the sand for online. So if you have transaction coordinators or yourself, just be aware of that. Like I said, if you have any questions, reach out to me. And then like I've been saying as well too, so for Freon coverage, very important, we're at the end of summer, but even looking forward for next year, those warranties you forgot about, make sure that you're either utilizing the premium plan or the buyer's preferred upgrade at $200. It's easily worth 1 pound of Freon. I've seen up to like $500 for a pound, and that's outrageous. But when you have that on there, you're taking really good care of your client, especially in this new environment. We do have mechanisms to add it on after, but it just confuses the homeowner. They call, they don't think they have coverage for Freon, they get frustrated. So when you have it on up front, it makes things go a lot smoother. Plus, there's a lot of extra garage door coverage with that upgrade too. So I always encourage that. And then just wanted to say, I was even talking with Scott. It's not something I really talked about, but even last year I was number 3 in the whole company first year, and that's a large. Well, that's a large part of your guys' efforts. You know, I just want to say thanks to each and every you. It's almost 2 years. You know, it's just been really great, and I just appreciate your support. However, I can help you, especially with all this NAR nonsense. Just
Nonsense.
well, it is. It's my thing is it's like the DOJ at least came out with some guidance for each and every one of you, and that's what you just hear a lot. Even a very prominent broker, was basically like, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just unfortunate. So however I can help you guys, if you have questions about warranty and what you got going on, scripting, or even in your process and how you guys are changing, please reach out to me. Got to give Preston a shout out too. Like he even said, if you make it part of the process versus the cost, it goes a lot smoother. So just thanks to each and every one of you. And if you need me, you know where to find me. So thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. All right, we got Antonio.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, he's even got the specs on
Yeah.
here to match his spot.
I know you want 2 tickets, I'll be really quick. I just want to let you know about a community project my Orla group is working on. So this is for all my dog people. We wrote a grant and we're granted the money, so we're using the funds to update the dog park at Veterans Park. So anyone that wants to get involved, there's 2 ways. This Friday and Saturday are the construction days. Anyone it's open house style, 9 to 5. If you want to lend a hand. We're going to be building pergolas, installing cedar benches, potting plants. We have ball launchers and tennis balls, a bunch of stuff to give away. And then following week on the 24th, that's our community day. We're having a ribbon cutting ceremony, inviting the community back. Bring your dog, come hang out, get some giveaways. And then we're also asking for donations. If you guys, we're doing an adoption day. We're hosting the Humane Society is going to join us. So if you guys have frisbees, leashes, they said they go through a lot of towels, blankets, sheets. But we'll take anything dog related. We're going to be happy just to give that huge donation to them at the end of the day. So that one's 12 to 4 on the 24th. So if you got your dog people, love to see you.
Dogs with tags.
Tell them what Orla is, if they don't know.
Yeah, so if you don't know, it's a statewide program. It stands for Ohio Realtor Leadership Academy. They select 12 agents throughout the states. I know Eric Henry was in a previous class.
As was Rich.
Rich, yeah. So they task you with doing some kind of project. They don't tell you what to do, but you do have to write for a grant. And my group, when we met, we all learned we were dog people. So we're like, we do not deserve dogs. Let's do something for them. So this was our idea. We're like, let's see what we can do. So we're trying to make it as big as possible. We're gonna have Mission Barbecue coming on the 24th. We do have food also on the volunteer days, so you'll be covered there. We'll have water, food.
Awesome.
And it's rain or shine, so hopefully the rain sticks away.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, final bit of content.
You want to be a part of the team.
something that's bigger than you. Something that gives you meaning. But yes, if you've ever had a dream being a softball player, athlete. We like being joint legacy sluggers. Help us, help you, help us.
Oh, cool. That's amazing. You got on base with that one, John. I can tell, yeah.
Yeah.
You got a double maybe.
I think we got three.
Wow.
He was trying to go home.
Oh, yeah.
It's 40 minutes long, guys, just so, just so you know.
Filling this up. It might have been longer.
Oh, Preston.
Injuries do happen. I was out for 2 weeks.
From that play?
Yeah.
Nice. So you had some awards, is that,
Yeah.
make it snappy,
Oh,
400.
Alright, so. I don't think most of the team's here anyway, so it should be better. Alright, so we have Nick Rock. For the Put Me Anywhere You Need Me award. He, his first time playing softball ever, he played every position on the field just about. So wherever you need him, you just put him there. John Fletcher is winning the Game Changer Award. This one is because he recruited the most people to actually give us a team. Have enough limit at first, and then he brought 3 along with him every week.
Wow.
Okay, that's leadership right there.
We have the Pop Fly Award for Maria, because Maria hits the ball really well. It just goes up really high and then straight to the catcher. And we have Joel for the Fireball Award. Joel has an issue with throwing the ball too hard and no one can tend to catch it and pressing that first base to one of these. And then we have Preston for the first line of defense award for playing first base and always being our first line of defense. And we have Mason Ferrer with the MVP for being our most valuable player. And he got the most runs, the most catches, the most everything on the team. And when he wasn't there, we knew it.
All right, go. Grab food, grab sides, grab.
Yes,
Karen, you
if
want?
you brought something and it was in the fridge, I labeled it and put it out, I think if I missed you.